Let's see, who's our last storyteller? Huh? Who could that possibly be? I don't know. Pat Kelley, it must be you.
My story is about love, forbidden love. Most of us remember our first love, and it's easy for me to remember my first love because my first love was my first cousin, George, whom I called Georgie. His mom and my mom were sisters, and they were very close, and as a result, we became very close. We were both only children, but we grew up in the context of an extended family in Queens. The time period I'm talking about is the 50s and 60s. Georgie lived on the next block from me. When I was born, he was 4 years old, and he was told at the time to treat me gently, care for me. I was the last born in the extended family, and I was the only girl, so I was precious cargo. And Georgie took this to heart. He became my caregiver, my teacher, and my protector. I spent most of my childhood in Georgie's house. His house was more kid-friendly than mine. In my house, our snacks were fruit, vegetables, and nuts. In his house, snacks were ice cream, candy, chips. His mom was more casual than mine. So we would spend a lot of time in his kitchen, and he taught me to play tic-tac-toe. He taught me connect the dots and other little pencil and paper games. So we would spend a lot of time at his kitchen table, just playing little things. One day we were there, and in my whiny way, I said, "I'm hungry." And Georgie, who was probably 9 or 10 at the time, said, "I'm going to teach you how to make lunch." So he got up, he pulled my chair over by the counter because I was too short to reach it and I could kneel on it, and he taught me how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So he toasted the bread and then gave me a knife, which I was not allowed to have in my house, and showed me how to spread the Skippy peanut butter and then some of our grandmother's homemade jelly on the sandwich. And then he allowed me to cut it with a knife. So I felt so good. That was the most delicious sandwich, and I knew now I could feed myself. Well, Georgie's enthusiasm, "I'm going to teach you how to make lunch," was indicative of his personality. He was an extrovert, he was outgoing, he was this positive guy. I, on the other hand, was very introverted, very quiet, very studious, and I don't know, Georgie did it, very shy. But when I was with Georgie, I wasn't shy. I was so happy. We had so much fun. So right about this time, I was home at my house in the kitchen with my parents, and I announced, when I grow up, I'm going to marry Georgie. And in a nanosecond, both of them together said, "You can't." And it was as if they struck me, which they would never, ever do. But I was taken aback. "Why not?" They said, "Because he's your cousin, and you cannot marry your cousin. It's a rule." Now, we had rules in my house, pick up your toys, eat your vegetables, but this rule seemed very unjust. And nothing more was said. It was like, case closed, no marrying your cousin. So my happiness was a bit tarnished, but I didn't tell Georgie about the rule. I figured if he didn't know, then it's best. I'm not going to tell him. So we went on, and we spent, the childhood years. We went on family vacations, and on one notable family vacation, we were in Florida at the beach, and Georgie was a fantastic athlete, and he swam like a dolphin, and I was doing my little dog paddle, and he swam over to me, and he said, "I'm going to teach you how to swim." And he did. So he taught me how to not drown. So he's taught me how to not starve and not drown. Well, then kind of the inevitable happened. Georgie entered his teen years, and started dating. And I was very, very jealous. He had grown from a cute boy into a handsome young man. He was about 6 foot tall, dirty blonde hair, brown eyes, supremely fit, athletic, and his personality was such, he had the megawatt smile. And his personality was such that every boy in the neighborhood thought that he was Georgie's best friend, and every girl thought she was Georgie's girlfriend. But I did know better. So when he was getting ready for his dates, I would go over to his house, and he wore the outfit of a cool Queens guy in the 50s, which consisted of Levi's, engineer boots, a white t-shirt with cigarettes rolled in the sleeve, and to top it, a black motorcycle jacket, and to top it off, a DA haircut. Now, I was told that I'd have to explain what a DA haircut is. And it is a pompadour, think Elvis, or think Fonzie as a later time. And hair combed back, it was sculpted, like the back of a duck's tail. So it's a DA duck's ass. So Georgie would craft his hair. He used Vaseline hair tonic. He would craft his hair, sculpt it, and I would watch him in the mirror. And when he was done, I reached up and messed it up. Now, he wouldn't dare get angry at me, so he would fix it again, and it was looking really, really good. And so I do it 2 or 3 times. I didn't want him to get angry. And he would go out on his dates. Well, he did take me on dates with these girls. So I don't know what the girls thought, but it was Georgie, the girl, and me. And it seemed to be like love. Georgie's motto was love me, love my cousin. But he didn't always take me on the date. So one night I was at home alone. I was about maybe, something happened that brightened my mood around this time. I was 11 years old, and I read the newspaper. My family was not educated, but everybody had newspapers. And we had the Daily News, and I read that the musician, rock singer, Jerry Lee Lewis, had married his cousin. Well, this was of great interest to me. And I read further, and this happened in Mississippi. And I thought, Mississippi apparently doesn't have the rule. So now the girl was 13, I was only 11. So I had a little ways to go, but I thought, well, Georgie and I could go to Mississippi. It's near Florida, we knew where Florida was, and we could become a couple. So during Georgie's dating years, I was not dating, I was too young. So I was home one evening at my house. My parents went out on dates all the time. And he surprised me on a Saturday night. I said, what are you doing? You want an orange? Some chopped vegetables? No, he said, put on some music, put on some records. Oh, okay. He said, I'm going to teach you how to dance. And he did. So time went on. Georgie graduated from high school. He started driving. I was starting high school. And he took up bowling. I told you he was this very good athlete, and he was an excellent bowler. He was able to use a fingertip ball, if you know what that is. Just the little tips go in the ball, not your whole finger. And I used to go to our local bowling alley and watch him. And one day, I was watching him, and he said, I'm going to teach you how to bowl. And he did. So we would go on kind of our own little dates. He would borrow his mom's car. At this time, he was able to drive. And we would go to a bowling alley that was about 15 minutes from our house. We would bowl, have some hamburgers, and have a nice evening. And I got to be a pretty good bowler. And then for a couple weeks, a month or so, I didn't see him because I was busy with school. He had started working. And then he called me one night and he said, how about we go bowling? And he had gotten a new car. And of course, for young men, a new car is a big thing. And for me, it was like, oh, Georgie got a car. And it was a 1962 Rambler American. Did anybody have such a car? I don't know. You know it. Oh, good. Yeah. It was a seafoam green. It was a cool car. So he picked me up at my house, and we went to the bowling alley, had our hamburgers. And nice night. We were coming home, and we were on a main road going to where our houses were. And I was not paying much attention. And then the next thing I knew, Georgie had turned off the main road into a darker road that led into a park. Now, this park is Cunningham Park, still exists, one of the biggest parks in Queens. And it had ball fields, picnic areas, trails for hiking. It was a very family-friendly park. However, at night, it was a lover's lane. So Georgie turned into this very large parking lot. The part where we turned had lights in it, but we could see in the distance all of these cars parked where people were doing non-family friendly things. I was completely, I didn't know what to think. And he was completely silent. I was completely silent, but inside I was panicking. I was thinking, Georgie, what are you doing? This is not right. Our family will be disgraced. This is something I've wanted all my life, but we're not in Mississippi. We're in Queens. Again, complete silence. Then he got out, he stopped the car. He got out and walked around to my door, opened my door, and I looked up at him. Again, no words were spoken, but I was so terrified. And I looked up at him, and he gave me the megawatt smile and said, I'm going to teach you how to drive. And he did.
And I'm not sure that the people in the cars were not doing family unfriendly things, in the manner of speaking. Well, I'll just let that kind of hang out there. So what'd you think? Was that great or what? When Pat was in 7th grade, she wanted to be a stewardess, but was too tall. And back then they had those rules. You had to fit in a box in order, yeah. It was another one of those rules. In 8th grade, she wanted to be a Supreme Court justice because their salary was $25,000 a year. Okay, for context, $25,000 a year in 1950s is about $400,000 a year now. Yeah, so that Supreme Court justices earn a little over $300,000 a year. That's what they get. So put that in your Funkin' Wagnalls and smoke it. Okay. So that's that. Thank you all for coming.